Hi, welcome to this Lunch and Learn. Let's kick this off. Let me share my screen and we'll start. So again, welcome. It's going to be very brief and short because you guys are on your lunch break, so I don't want to take in too much of your time. But anyway, here we go. So stress, no thanks. Now, how you're going to get the most out of this Lunch and Learn is get rid of your distractions, put your phone on silent, put your notifications off of your email or whatever, your camera on, your mute on. Be open-minded, because maybe you're going to hear some things that you didn't hear before. So be open-minded, ask questions, and you can have that chance at the end of this session where there's a Q&A and you can ask all the questions you want. Now, I also want you to be present, and to get you present, we're going to do a little, just very short exercise. Just sit on your chair with your spine straight, feet on the ground, and close your eyes. Now, try to feel your toes, whether in your shoes or whether you're in your socks, doesn't matter. And to feel them better, you just wiggle them. So you can check your toes, feel your toes. Just that. Okay. Now we are present and we can start. So what's up today? First, I will tell you who I am. Then we're going to talk a little bit about stress. And then I will explain a simple and sustainable solution for your stress, much more. And then I will explain what's next for you. Don't worry, you can't buy anything in this Lunch and Learn, but you'll see what I mean with that. And then after that, there is a Q&A. So we want to eliminate stress now and forever, right? But let me first introduce myself. I'm Eddie Smits. I'm a TEDx speaker, an author, licensed NLP practitioner, a certified management drives trainer, a CBT coach, a certified mind coach, a certified life coach. I have a bachelor's in pedagogy, and I was a professional artist for 25 years. Actually, I was a professional clown for 25 years, and now I am a mental fitness coach. Now, during my professional career as an artist, I visited more than 10,000 sick and palliative children as a hospital clown. And this is the place where my interests in personal development started. And that's also in that period, we're talking about 2012 now, I wrote a book about it. The book is called Model C. And what the book tells you is what you can do with this attitude of a hospital clown. Because when we visited children that had, let's say, literally just a few days to live, then that requires a certain attitude, that requires a certain vision of life and how you are in that life, and that requires that you are strong yourself. So in the book, I explain how you can use this attitude that we used as a hospital clown in your real life or in your business to acquire your goals or to just be happier. And that's actually how I start my personal development journey. But why stress? Why am I so obsessed, let's say, by stress? No, I'm not obsessed. But it is something that everybody encounters, and it is something that really, really blocks you from happiness, from acquiring your goals. And the thing is that it's not only that everybody has a kind of stress, it is really, really easy to get rid of the stress or to reduce the stress if you do a few things that need to be done, and that's what I will explain you in this Lunch and Learn. Now, the autonomy of stress is fairly simple. It is actually our brain that is lying to us. And it is also that our focus is not in the present, because we stress for the things that happened in the past, and we stress about things that will happen in the future. But the things that happened in the past, we can't control, we can't do anything about it. And that's the same with things in the future. So we are stressing about things that we are not in control of. And that's why our focus is not in the present. If we can keep our focus in the present, we can control things and we will reduce our stress. So it is still controlled by our survivor brain, also called reptile brain. Now, is stress bad for you? Well, let me ask you this. If you place your hand on a hot stove, automatically you will retract your hand, right? Now, with stress, there's something very strange going on, because as soon as we feel stress, we not lift our hands off this hot stove. We keep it on the hot stove so that the stress only remains and gets worse, which is really funny, because in that thing, you would expect that when we feel stressed, we do something about it, but we don't. But as I mentioned before, it's our brain that does that work for us. Now, stress is the #1 negative emotion of people, right? And is it bad? No, it is not bad, because just when I told you, when you place the hand on a hot stove, you will immediately retract. So stress is very helpful as an alert. So as soon as we feel stress, we need to think that there is something going on that's not okay, and we need to address that immediately. So that is the whole purpose of stress, actually. Now, what I often hear, especially with business people and entrepreneurs and CEOs or leaders, is that, oh, but Eddie, but we need stress to perform. We need stress to get things done. We need this pressure in our lives. And that is actually one of the biggest lies of nowadays, that we really need the stress. And I have a little clip here. And if you look, you will see 2 swimmers. The one down below is really in ease and flow, and he swims naturally without any effort. And the top one is really getting stressed, is hitting his arms, and he is actually just moving a little bit slower even than the one below. So there is really no need for you to have this stress. And it certainly not has to rule your life. Now, we all know there are studies enough about stress, and we all know the effects on our bodies, on our mood, on our behavior. I'm not going to read them all, but for the body, the most recognizable is probably the muscle tension, like the muscle tension in your neck or pain. On the mood, it's probably the anxiety that we can have, or the fears that we have. And on our behavior, a lot of people get angry fast, and that's what stress gives them. You can also read the other ones, like a lack of motivation, for example, is a big one. And all these things that are created by stress. So there is actually, the only thing that is good about stress is that it warns us that something is wrong. But that's all that should be good about stress. Because it really has a negative effect on our performance, on our relationships, and on our overall well-being. But I have 2 times good news for you. Because the only one person that is responsible for your stress, and there is only one, and you probably know who that is. Yeah, that's you. So since you are the only one who is responsible for your stress, you're also the one who can reduce your stress or resolve your stress. Now, how do you eliminate stress? Well, there are a few things that work, but for example, you can do sports, you can do yoga, you can do mindfulness, you can meditate, you can go to the spa, you can go on holiday. Now, all these things work. For example, doing sports, it works. You will relieve your stress. Yoga will relieve your stress. Mindfulness will relieve your stress. But the thing with most of these things is, first of all, you do it to relieve your stress. So that means you have already all this stress piled up. And a very good example is going to the spa. You know, you go to a spa, you feel really relaxed, you come outside, your phone was off the whole time. At most spas, you're not allowed to have a phone. And you come in your car, your phone goes, and immediately, bang, the stress is there again. It's the same with going on holiday, right? You're really stressed and you need a holiday. You go on this holiday, your stress reduces to, let's say, nothing. But you come at home, and before you know it, the stress is immediately back. Even some people who are on the plane going home already feel that the stress is coming back. The thing with mindfulness, for example, or yoga, is that it's also very stress relieving, but it doesn't serve you in stress situations. For example, mindfulness or meditation, you do that in a quiet room with some candles, some music, which is all very good for reducing stress. But for example, when you are in a meeting or in your car and there's a lot of traffic, or in a meeting that stressful things are going on, it doesn't really help you because you can't go back in that state. You can't say, okay, I'm now going to meditate, and now I'm going to. So there has to be something that you can use immediately to reduce the stress. And it has to be simple and sustainable. Now, that thing that I am going to talk about to reduce stress and to improve your relationships, to improve your performance, and to improve your overall well-being is positive intelligence. Now, I'm going to be very brief about it. I could spend hours talking about positive intelligence, but let me just highlight the things for you that are necessary for you to have an idea of what it is. Now, what is positive intelligence? In one sentence, it's your capacity to respond to life challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. That's what it does. That's what it is. Now, and that is a little bit the same, or not a little bit, that is exactly the same as what a clown does. He responds to negative things by making them positive in a simple way, right? When we were in hospitals and children had chemotherapy, right, their hair falls off, it was always kind of searching, how can we make this positive? So the jokes we made then, oh, you don't need gel, you don't need a haircut, you don't need shampoo, etc., etc. So we made this look in another perspective. Does it change the situation? No, it does not. But by changing your perspective, you will see outcomes, and you could be creative. You could start thinking out of the box. You will see solutions and not problems. But hey, you don't need to believe me. I'm just a clown. Because positive intelligence is based on positive psychology, on performance science, on neuroscience, and on cognitive behavioral psychology. Now, the founder of positive intelligence is Shirzad Chamine. He's an Iranian guy who lives in the States and who is a Stanford professor and who did a lot of research to found positive intelligence. So he did it with hundreds of CEOs and executives, with Stanford students, with world-class athletes, and they did their tests and their science-based things with more than 500,000 participants from 50 countries. And all this work is resumed in his book that he wrote, the bestseller, Positive Intelligence, which is in the meantime translated into 20 languages. So again, you don't need to believe me, a clown. Now, why is it simple? What causes this to be simple? Well, that is because it is based on the power of factor analysis. Now, what is factor analysis? Factor analysis discovers the root cause, right? Why are we stressed? You know, if you have a headache and you take an aspirin, will probably relieve you from your headache. But if you have this headache every day, there has to be some kind of cause that is something that is causing your headache. So that's what factor analysis does. It discovers the root cause. And what it also does, it simplifies things radically. And that's necessary because when things are too complicated, we won't use them after a while, or we get discouraged. So it has to be simple to be effective. Now, let me give you an example of vector analysis. You know that to make colors, you only need 3 basic colors that are red, blue, and yellow. If you have these 3 colors, you can make all the colors in the world. And that's also the case with positive intelligence. If you use positive intelligence, you can use it in your personal life, in your business, in parenting, you can use it everywhere. Now, what do I mean with sustainable? Well, actually, we are going to put a new operating system in your brain. That's what it makes sustainable. You know, all the motivational things you can follow, the courses you do, the seminars, it's all good. But the thing is, it's like a hot bath. You know, you're really comfortable in the hot bath. But if you don't put warm water regularly, it will cool down. And that's what my biggest problem is with all the things that will motivate you and you will get into, and at some point you will give up. The most well-known example is going to the gym. You start going to the gym, you take a membership, you are going for a few weeks, and after this few weeks, you start to go 3 times a week, then 2 times, then 1 time, and going. And that's what we don't want to have. So we install a really new operating system in your mind, and once that's installed, it starts everything, and you will see things different. It's a little bit like learning to ride a bike. It's really simple to ride a bike, but it takes some time to ride it. But once you can ride the bike, you'll never forget how to ride it. It's the same as that. Now, how does it work? Well, what is the root cause of our stress? Well, positive intelligence, science has discovered that there are some saboteurs, right, that sabotage us in achieving our goals, but also causing us stress. Now, sometimes our mind does wonderful things for us, but the same things in our mind sometimes also block us. And the biggest saboteur is, we call the judge, right? Sometimes to ourselves, you know, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, which is self-judging. We also judge others. Oh, they have it easy because they have money and they have this and they have that. Oh, that's, yeah, sure, it happens to them, right? That's judging others. And you also judge circumstances. COVID is the most well-known example. You know, how many people have judged COVID for everything that has happened to them. You know, so that's what our judge does, and that's what gives us stress and holds us from achieving things. The other saboteurs are the controller, the hyperachiever, the restless, the stickler, the pleaser, the hypervigilant, the avoider, the victim, and the hyperrational. Now, are these saboteurs bad? No, they are not bad, but they help us until a certain point. And then they start working against us, and that's what we want to avoid. So how do we do that? Well, we have these 10 saboteurs, but we also have these, we call it sage powers. And these powers we use to eliminate the saboteurs, or to reprogram or to rewrite this saboteur behavior. Now, I'm not a brain specialist, but this is just for making this presentation complete. These saboteurs, they are located in our brainstem, our limbic system, and the parts of the left brain, as I told before, in our reptile brain. The sage, on the other hand, resides in the middle prefrontal cortex, the empathy circuitry, and the parts of our right brain. Now, these saboteurs, they motivate you through negative emotions, and the sage, of course, motivates you to positive emotions. Now, negative emotions are fear, stress, anger, guilt, shame, insecurity, while positive emotions are empathy, curiosity, creativity, passion, and purpose. Now, the question I get a lot is, but, you know, I need this saboteur to get my success. For example, the hyperachiever, right? It gives me success. The stickler, it gives me success because I'm very, very keen about doing the things right. And that is true, right? But they will never give you happiness. While if you do things in sage mode, it will generate your highest success and happiness. Remember the swimmers? It's exactly that. Now, are we surviving or are we thriving? You can't see the animal. It's duck under my picture, but don't worry. It's a cockroach. And cockroaches, they have survived for more than 300 million years on this earth. Now, why is that? Because they only have this reptile brain. So the moment they hear a sound, they see light, as something is moving, they flee. And that's why they are so good in surviving. But are they thriving? That's another thing. And that's what we want to do. So we want to get out of this reptile brain. Now, in short, what does positive intelligence do? Is this, we all know this, right? This angel and this devil we have in our shoulder, and there's constantly these voices in our head that are contradicting each other. Well, positive intelligence learns you to control these voices and to use them to achieve the things that you want to achieve, and especially to lose all stress so that you can live in ease and flow, or do your business in ease and flow. Doesn't matter. It all seems simple, right? But does it work? Well, it is simple. And it also works. And it is even very powerful. The first thing we do is we get to know these saboteurs, and that's very personal. We learn to control them. We learn to turn every challenge into a gift that will improve your performance, improve your relationships, and eliminates all your stress immediately. And of course, that will improve your overall well-being. So we catch the saboteur and we control the saboteur. But of course, we first need to know which saboteurs are responsible for our behavior and our stress. And that is made very easy because there's a test for this. You can do that online. And that way, you get to know your top saboteurs and you get a lot of insight in that, how you function. And that's where it all starts. But a lasting positive change is not obtained by insight. Insight is only, sorry, my picture is in the way here, but you can see the diagram, is only 20% of the work. The rest is mental muscle building. It's very comparable to the gym. You know, if you want to lift, let's say 50 kilograms with one hand like this, right? Then the inside is, hey, I need to go to the gym. That's the inside, right? Now, the other thing is you need to go to the gym and do this exercises. And what a lot of people do is they go into the gym and they train for like one day in a row just to move this thing. It doesn't work like that. You have to do it every day for a period of time. And you have to start with 10 kilo and then 20 and 30 and 40 until you have this 50 kilo. And that's the same with controlling these saboteurs. But once you know the system, once you have everything in place by doing daily exercises, then you will control these saboteurs and control your stress, inevitably. So what is next for you? Well, if you have something like, hey, this is really interesting, this could really help me, well, I invite you to come on a call with me. I call it a virtual coffee because there will be nothing you can buy on this call, but I will give you a lot of clarification, about your stress. You will also get to know your saboteurs, and it will help you in each case to see how you can decrease that stress of yours and how you can live a life in ease and flow. So once again, thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you in that call. And for now, have a great day or the rest of the day, a great week, and I'll see you on the call. Bye-bye.